Yeah, recording. Yep, video. Collar's not fixed. So that's ruins the whole thing, right? Um, so I sort of had that kind of thing on my mind, what we notice in life and what we fight for and what we are upset by and what disturbs us and the whole idea how that's conformed. So it's, I suppose, related. Professor Anton did a video about some guy who wrote some sort of wacky book that just kind of talks in that kind of jargon about you know what kind of person you are, and why. Your conditioning, your thought process. You could even take it to a conversation about what makes a maximum human being. A Mr. Spock or something. Um, having programs. It's all programs that control your programs, manage them, and optimize them. Only let the silly person out. With maybe, let all the frivolous programs loose, maybe all together in some event. Clown orgy sex, and segregate things. So you're not being a jerk when you need to be something else. So again, this sort of relates to my theme of psychology versus philosophy, and even the glib argument that you could argue that there's times when you have to um, bend to the seriousness of the circumstance and can't just whatever it away. I'm very good at whatevering things away, whatever. Just that's the, I don't want to fight with you, I don't care, this is stupid, fuck you. Yeah, that's what whatever kind of fixes things. It's a fixer. Um, but there's times when these things need to be dealt with. Whatevering Fukushima away, is not a good plan. Whatevering economic crisis pending. Whatever the thing is just not. So it's a nice for a personal program, but it's not very good for your human being affecting the universe kind of programming. And that's what it always sort of comes down to here. Is I'm going to say that instead of looking for the programming that maximizes your um, personal clown orgy sex agenda, that the better agenda of calculating machine can be applied to figuring out things, figuring out plans and strategies to improve things, shore up the building, patch the holes in the boat, that kind of thing. The mission oriented, where the mission isn't, hey, I'm bored, hey, be more funny, I need entertaining. Those very different agendas there, very different life living, and so you could argue that we're all on the same boat, right? We have different perspectives. Let's say some of us are in storage, and some of us are on deck chairs in the sun. But the fact is that you can say that there's a reality, and we're all riding on it. We're all navigating it, and there's either a right way to do that, and there's certainly wrong ways to do it. We probably can agree on some wrong ways, bashing people over the head and stealing their money, probably a wrong way. We could agree. The obvious ones of obvious harm, let's say. But that then you get into the whole, what's the difference between a terrorist and a revolutionary? 25 cents, 250, 350. Yeah. Anyway, not much. So So yeah, I think I'll go back on the boat metaphor and just say that, some of this philosophy conversation is basically just trying to get us to acknowledge, certain realities of this boat, and that it doesn't have a captain and it doesn't have a crew, and that we, the passengers, all right, have to do this shit. God isn't, even if you believe in one, he's not navigating. He's not doing anything, right? Because he's making it our responsibility, supposedly. But regardless, I just think you can accept that theme that God isn't steering. And there's no lookouts. Maybe you're prophets, I don't know. If I was to take the metaphor a step further. But the point is that we have to navigate the boat. We as the riders. And we're sitting there saying, some riders are, not my problem. But there's always people like that who, they'll lie on the grass you mowed kind of thing. They're just takers. They don't see any obligation. They just have an obligation to themselves, and that's all they're going to think about. And unless you can make the crisis, real enough for them, a crisis, a threat, yeah, they're just not going to do anything. And they might even say something silly like, well, I'll be dead before the boat sinks, or some other kind of crap. They'll glibly walk past any sense of urgency or importance. And then you have these other people, might be something like a me, who are just henny-pennied all over the place. The sky is fucking falling. The boat is fucking going down. there's all kinds of signs in the water. Little icebergs, ice cubes. It's just, and it's really important that we organize ourselves to make this not horrible. And so that's the other part, though, is, right, I mean, that's where it all kind of just, damn. I mean, I wish I could say, let's fix it and sail right to the, right into the sunset. Well, there's no sunset to sail into. There's just, ew, what an ugly poo. Yeah, sorry, that was just happened to be a very ugly poo. Big horse, ugly poo. Looked like a molten planet or something. Anyway, really is a dismal, drizzly day. Cold and dank. Doesn't really feed the the leg clowns or whatever, the get up and goer of the body. Anyway, that's sort of the related subject, but not this subject, of motivation and, attempting to generate motivation. But anyway, so it's a real motivation killer, when all you're really saying is, look, we have to get ready for the crash with the iceberg so we can die gracefully instead of badly. Everybody's just gonna go whatever, because because they're just not gonna, I'm not dying, or that doesn't, somehow just doesn't mean much to them. I don't know, I mean, I guess that's just a conversational problem, is first you have to go into some sort of detail about, well, would you rather take 4 years to die or 2 weeks? Would you rather take 2 weeks or 2 hours? How long would you like it to have typhoid before you die of it? Yeah, you're inevitably going to be dead. Would you rather have it for 2 weeks or 2 days? Yeah, I think that's obvious enough. But I'm just saying, throwing those arguments in the middle of the conversation kind of breaks the narrative. Yeah, so they just kind of gloss over and say, look, jellyfish, and so you're all done. Yeah, conversation over. Yeah, so that's one of the liabilities of boat life is, yeah, yeah, not only do you have to wear the one-man band costume, you know, with the cymbals and the band and the drum, you have to do it in clown face, you know, hopping on one foot, um, you know, to keep these lunatics, you know, with their eyes on the ball kind of thing. Anyway, which is frustrating. Um, it's like you have to kill people to get people to read your manifesto. Yeah, well, gee, that seems a stupid standard. You know, but apparently that's what it takes. This silly world. Anyway, preposterously silly world. Anyway, well, people are by nature, okay, by nature selfish, which is silly. So, but they just keep needing feeding. The biology keeps telling them, I want a better game. You know, it is the hunger game in the sense that you're always hungry for something. You know, fill you up on potato chips and you'll be wanting to fill something else or do something else, or, you know, it's always something on the list. Another interesting one of these plants with two varieties, you know, the white and the purple. A lot of plants do that, especially with those two colors, which is sort of interesting. You know, either pink or violet. I mean, I find it interesting because, you know, I really don't have an explanation. But if I was a physicist, I'd assume that the flowers are expressing their personality, or some other kind of wacky theory. They're reading the Martian's mind and deciding that white's this year's vogue color. That's what physicists would do. You know, see, that's sort of a joke, witticism, you know, thrown in there because that's what we've learned to do with our lives, is, you know, put wit on things and crap and folksiness or some other style shit. Doesn't have anything to do with the boat. Doesn't have anything to do with reality. Just has to do with the stupid, funky way human beings have to communicate with each other. How they have to get all friendly and lovey, or they can't have a conversation. They have to like chew on the same wheat stalk and get to know the other guy's heart. Yeah, you know, so they can know each other in our hearts. Yeah, that's what all the the gay tumbleweeds do. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, you get my drift, though, right? I'm making that was another joke, sort of, another witticism intended to, you know, sarcastically point out that, you know, people aren't capable of having rational conversation about the boat we're riding, its condition, and where the fuck we're going, which is nowhere. Yeah, absolutely nowhere. You just won a free trip to absolutely nowhere. $458 shipping and taxes. Plus your boat's gonna sink. Inevitably. Yeah. Shit. What a prize. Wow, I'm a big winner. Huh? Yeah, right. So that is kind of another joke. So there. It's just, I'm calling them jokes. I realize they're they're barely in the joke cloud, but whatever. Attempted jokes. Near joke. Yeah, they call it a near joke. Yeah. So anyway, here you can see the drizzle. Drizzle, drizzle, drizzle. Yeah. I keep thinking of reflectivity now because I'm all on this quanta shit. But anyway, so yeah, I'll remain the boat passenger who recognizes there's models running in my head of, you know, boat going to port, disassembling, and just saying, don't ever do that again. That was a bad idea. Or there's boat, crash into iceberg, yell, yell, scream, scream, cry, cry, freeze, freeze, glub, glub, horror, horror. And I'm saying, look, you know, let's not do that glub, glub, horror, horror thing. Let's just rationally turn this baby around and get the hell out of this voyage nowhere shit. This ain't a good business to be in. Yeah. That's the better narrative. I don't feel up to this today. I have a lot of days where I really don't feel like being here. Fuck that shit. Put on the Mr. Spock program. Calculate logically. Do your function. Complete your task. And go home and take a nappy. Yeah. That's what I'll do.